informing us of the early inklings of First Blood. Between 1968 and 1971, Morel encloses to us that, originally First Blood was twice as long, not only in the film version, but in the novel version was also twice as long, focusing more on the characters, like the deputies and the justice of the peace, to portray multiple viewpoints on Rambo or towards Rambo. And the book at one point was called Rambo. Another title for the book was Soldiers Run. He even discusses changes to Troutman for the third act, bringing him in, making him bigger. The original outline is much the same, but sparkles with differences and additions, like Teasel's, Teasel being a Korean war hero, a champion semi-pro boxer, an expert pistol shot. Gives Rambo's backstory in a nutshell as well. Green Beret, few Medal of Honor winners to live and tell the tale, 6-month tortured Viet Camp, escaped prisoner, fighting alone through 400 miles of rainforest, till out of his mind stumbles into an American base camp south of the DMZ. Highlights Rambo and Teasel's meeting, teasing the cat came back like actions of Rambo that would eventually become the greatest chase story ever written. Included are the official pages to the Gorilla, which we will get to momentarily, the long-lost alternate genesis to David Morell's epic debut novel, First Blood. So, now we're going to talk a little Philip Glass and William Tenn and First Blood. So First Blood is dedicated to William Tenn, the one and only Philip Glass. David includes this lovely section admiring Glass, the master class, mentor and teacher of his, who changed his life forever. I guess without him we wouldn't have Rambo. So he tells of how they first met, Tenn's sci-fi golden era works, his background, the inspirations, some important rules to follow in storytelling, their cherished friendship, various other works and peers, and the beginning and aftermath of First Blood. Glass' unfortunate death, and what stuck with him afterwards. It's a fabulously enduring piece that really brings a tear to one's eye. Then we go into the last of the original reissue features. It's a piece called Rambo at Penn State, written by John Swinton from the Penn State PSU Alumni Magazine. It's a nostalgic deja vu piece set in Belafonte, which is where the book setting of fictional Madison, later Hope, is based on. I hope I said that right, Belafonte. It might be Belafont or Belafont. He talks the book's signature upon, significance upon his life and the world. And Time Magazine compares the violence to porn, dubbed pornography. The various skills Morel obtained to give this epic truth, as well as its movie maven followers. Swinton gives us a review and cites Morel, frequented that made it into the book, such as a possible dropping of a Junkyard Abramson or Stewart Salvage Enterprises, either sides of Strobel Road off Benner Pike, below and an area, Morel once hunted back then. So it's cool to, see that. And it's cool that Morel let on the secrets of his, instincts to him. And, the guy had all these instincts, and he went to Morale with them, and Morale confirmed it. That First Blood was based on, that whole central region. It goes on to, like, Kern's name came from, a professor from Iowa University, Alexander Kern. Yes, that Alexander Kern, a World War II combat veteran who covered Philip Young's Mark Twain piece. He talks of the limestone caves, the hotels of the town, more on that trout food dispenser too. There's a food dispenser that's like a little vending machine that's off that road going down to a fish reservoir in that in Bellefonte. That we see that in the opening pages of First Blood. A really cool scene. One of my favorite scenes actually in First Blood. He addresses the inspiration of the Shade Gap, Peggy Ann Bradnick and the Mountain Man, William Hollenbow, kidnapping and manhunt through the Tuscarora Mountains. He talks William 10, the Philip class, and Morale's writing origins, as well as he talks his tale, the Plinker, sorry, and his his activist acts and powerful knowledge and writing skills and drive for storytelling. And I think that the Plinker is unreleased, but I'm going to try to see if I can get a copy from David or see if it's out there, because they really put that in high praise here. And it sounds like something really awesome story. The way they kind of talk about it in there, it sounds like very interesting. Kind of rock quarry kind of story where the kid slingshotting, or no, sorry, not slingshotting, like a BB pelleting in the rock quarry. Anyway, there's a tale of David getting lost hunting off the ridge of Snydertown Road, emerging excited and torn up by brambles. Inspiring the classic Teasel scene. When Teasel's going through the brambles, hunted by Rambo, and he's getting filleted and cut up and all messed up. The classic Teasel escape scene, if you will. And they talk Morale's classic theme on spinning role reversal. John also gives us a little taste of Rambo's end, comparable to the death of Ernest Hemingway. It's a brilliant bunch of pages. Oh man, this I'm so grateful to get this book. It is chock full, man, of stuff you would not believe. You would just not believe it. You would flip out. Okay, moving on to the Gorilla. Now, to kick off the sole features for the lettered edition. Sole features for the lettered edition. These are one and onlys from beyond, my friend. From this reissue, we have the Gorilla. Facsimile pages from the original manuscript, Lost and Found Treasures, from the gods of writing, or shall I say the god of writing. One of the many holy grail of Rambo hardcore collectible materials, opening our eyes to an unsettled, uncharted wilderness, dropping us into the center of the book's action instead of, starting at the beginning. And so calls Rambo on the run. It showcases him on the run already. And there's this helicopter in pursuit. We don't really meet Rambo yet, but carrying two armed and, very unpatient men. It's sunrise, and coming down off a kill buzz, they kind of scour around for Rambo. The main guy, the shooter, has been wasting ammo all day, shooting at nothing, in an attempt to scare out accidentally Rambo or accidentally hit him. And the copter men are fussing back and forth about, the noise from the rifle fire, and the topic turns to the stoic legendary take on Teasel and his experiences and rumors of him, and almost makes me kind of wonder if at this point, in this version of the story, because this is an alternate version of First Blood, if maybe these guys were new on the job and just learning about Teasel, or Teasel coming to this point in this new place and point in his career. I don't know. It kind of feels like that though, like they might not know him too well. And anyway, they come across and almost shoot a deer, and we can tell they're not the type of men they believe themselves to be by the shooter's hands are shaking from shooting at the deer. So it kind of feels like they're not accustomed to death. Brings into mind the hell of a slim chance they would have against Rambo, seeing Rambo wouldn't hesitate to kill them, if it came down to that. So after the chopper, fades off into the distance, the deer comes back out, and we can hear the police coming, we can hear the dogs coming, and smell human. And Rambo crawls out of the brush in the coolest of introductions, crouching like a cornered animal, examining everything, standing up straight and stoic and Renaissance man-like, blood-covered, boots torn, jean cuffs, buff, muscular. He's got a blood-soaked leather jacket on with a wool interior. Some of the blood's his own. I'm guessing most isn't. And it's classic. And I wonder if he was originally into a greaser type of appearance. Like imagine that if Rambo looked like Rocky, like clearly he could have been. This is really cool. And an alternate to the classic military garbed look that we all know and love and are accustomed to. Sly could have had a third classic greaser role character, besides the Lords of Flatbush. But imagine that if Rambo looked more like Rocky. Don't mess with, the hippies people. Some of them are the fastest guns in the West. So Morell notes that he used to store his lost and unused pages in a big metal box, and the arduous ways of the old school manuscript, construction techniques used by, the implored. He goes over a lost and found story, rediscovering hundreds of forgotten pages, handwritten, typed and corrected sheets. He notes also that the address on these presented passages is now a parking lot. And this is a very cool what could have been look at First Blood. As, one is a die-hard fan of the franchise, will always cherish. I feel so fortunate as to not only lay eyes on this, but to own it as well. So this is the bee's knees, people. And just imagine that, Rambo emerging, and the first time we see Rambo coming out of the brush, and he's all animal-like, but he's got that leather jacket, very Rocky looking. That would have been fascinating. So that is the Gorilla. What an amazing alternate take. I'm fascinated. I want to read more of this Gorilla. I want to see more of what Morell originally had stewing in the pot, because this, my friends, is classic. This is classic writing. It was like, wow, it was such a tease. Every time you read a David Morell book, you get sucked into that suspension of disbelief. It never feels fake. It always feels real. And to kind of come back full circle after reading all three of the Rambo books, and now trying to get a look at these little snippets of what could have been and what came before, gives me hope for the reissues of, Rambo of the Apes and Rambo of Arabia. So maybe we'll try to get David on to talk about those two upcoming reissues and his plans for Rambo's future, because I can't wait to see what he's got in that metal box.